All right, Coach Schuman, Coach D, we're back for another episode. We got a couple this week. Last week we had a good one. The week before we had a great one. Today we're going to have on the head football coach from West Milford High School. He's been there 7 years. He plays football at Moravian College. He's a West Milford guy, and before he became football coach, he was also, I believe, track coach as well, and had some success there as well. So
Listen, he's worn a lot of hats, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we'll talk to him, and then tomorrow, Thursday, we're on again in the evening. So we got two evening episodes, prime time, just because we're doing a camp this whole week. So, and believe me, we're too wiped out to do anything else other than that in the 90-degree heat. Without further ado, let's bring on Coach Maslanek. Coach, what's going on?
Going on, man? How you guys doing? Right?
Good. It's great to have you on there.
Thanks for having me, man.
Now, do you live in West Milford?
I live in West Milford, yes, but I grew up in Vernon.
Grew up in Vernon. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, you've taken over the program there, and it's a building process. West Milford has been a place that needed really some really solid leadership when you took over the program. And stability and the ability to really kind of guide for the future. And you've been able to take over and really do that. Talk a little bit about your football playing career yourself and how you got into coaching, all of that. And lead us up to, this point at West Milford.
All right. Well, I played at Vernon High School. My sophomore and junior year, we weren't too good. My senior year was the first time we went to the playoffs, and I think it was 16, 17 years. I was the captain of that team. Moved on to Moravian. Played there, started at the end of my freshman year, all the way through my senior year until I got hurt. And how did I get into coaching really came down to the coaches that I was coached by, growing up. I was fortunate enough to be coached in youth football by Steve Vasquez, who was all-century team, New Jersey, from Lodi. He played at Iowa. He coached us in youth and then became our DC. And then my head football coach at Vernon, Chuck Tepper, was he's like my father in a way. Every Father's Day, I text him, say Happy Father's Day. We're pretty tight. And that was the big reason why. And the big reason why I went to Moravian was because those two guys had discussed and had conversations with the head coach, Coach Stapp, and the DC at the time, who became the head coach, Jeff Buxton. And it was just they felt pretty comfortable for me to be there. And I went there, and I had a time of my life, and I wish I was still in college. But it was a great time, and is good. We played good football.
Don't we all, brother? Don't we all?
Yeah, man. Oh my goodness, just for the meal plan. But the experience I had maybe was fantastic, and had some opportunities to coach in PA. And Coach Tepper called me, and another former Butler player, because Coach Tepper was a Butler player, and Coach Poppy, had hired me, and I got a job at West Milford, and I started there as a varsity assistant. Did a couple of years of freshman football, which I didn't want to do, but it was the best thing I ever did. Came back and became a DC in 2008, and then kind of just held that role until 2018. And when the job came up in 18, I had, I was in West Milford. My son was playing second grade football at the time, and I was involved in the youth, and it just seemed like a pretty natural thing. So I was doing both, being the head varsity football coach at West Milford, and then being on the board at the youth program and coaching the youth program for the last 7 years. So, yeah, man, I get out of practice at 5:15 and drive home, 10 minutes, and then grab him and come right back to practice. So he's now a freshman. So it seems as though that's kind of that journey's that part of it's done. So that stress is out of it. But yeah, man, I got some young guys on my staff, and we were talking about how much football you've been doing. And I said, I have been in August camp since 1996 through 2024. So I love it, man. Football is my life, and got a great support system here. And like I said, I don't know where I'd be without the sport. And the reason why I got into coaching was really just to kind of, possibly make an impact on kids the way that, my coaches did throughout high school and then my college coaches. But I owe a lot of where I'm at, to my former, high school, college teammates, and a lot of to my high school and college coaches.
When you took over West Milford, was I correct that you were a track coach, right? And then you were, I think you were coach of the year indoor a couple times, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where take over as head coach. I think you were the DC at the time, and West Milford was, like I said, looking to really get a transition to have somebody that could be their coach for a long time. And obviously bring stability to the program, really try to rebuild the program to the next level. When you took over that program, kind of what was your thought process when taking over the head football job at West Milford?
I mean, I guess my biggest thing was just kind of trying to, instill some new energy into the program, more of a competitive edge. Thought the guys before did a great job. West Milford's always been one of those schools where I feel as though they don't really know what to do with us in terms of our schedule. We, played some played a lot of tough teams throughout the years. But to me, it was just kind of bringing a little bit of a shot of energy into the program, some enthusiasm. And trying just, making a change, and trying to go, forward with that. Give me 1 second.
You're good, buddy. You're good. Kids gotta handle it. I do know one thing.
I'm back.
Itself, because at Butler, you're kind of right next to each other. So, like West Milford, like Coach said, it's always been a school that nobody knows what to do with, right? Like they used to be a Group 4, tons of kids around the program, right? And they always just would run into a hammer. Like they'd have a really good season and they'd have to go play Wayne Hills or something. So It definitely is one of those schools that kind of stands out. And then when Coach kind of came into it, you saw steadily how it started to shift in terms of stability. And now we're going to continue to play this type of schedule. So it's definitely a place that's definitely off the map.
Yeah.
People really don't understand what it actually is.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And my biggest thing is, we'll play anybody. We don't care. And it's, at the end of the day, you obviously everybody wants to win 8-9 games, but we play a competitive schedule. And that was my thing, was just kind of, let's make sure that we're around 500. Let's make sure we have a shot to get the playoffs, but let's take care of the years that, we can, have, string a couple more wins, you know what I mean? And my first year, we did, we got the playoffs for the first time in a long time, had a good year. Second year, we just missed it. We still had a good year. And then, then COVID came, and that kind of really threw a wrench in us. And then in 2021, we got to the state semis, and that was another year we dealt with COVID. And we were, I think when we did the math on Group 3, I think we had, we were the smallest Group 3 in the state in 21 by 9 kids. So once again, we're kind of teetering at 3-2. We're kind of, what do we do with these guys? They play 4s, they play 3s, they play 2s. You never know, type of thing. So that's kind of where we're in that spot right now, where it's, and I feel pretty good about where we're at, coming from, from 22 and playing a lot of young kids and junior heavy, kind of all right, maybe this all will fall into place, and not taking anything away from Group 2 to Group 3. It's just the fact that, in Group 3, man, when you're that small of a Group 3 and you run into, West Essex or Westmore, it's tough, man. So like I said, man,
100%.
We're here to play good football. We're here to be, intelligent players, and a lot of guys play the next level. And West Milford, to be honest with you, man, these kids are so tough. They're mentally tough. They're physically tough.
Yep.
I love coaching them. And for me right now in my career, to have kids in the senior, junior, sophomore, freshman class, of all kids that I've coached in youth football, it's just a different feel. you've been around them for a very, very long time.
Oh yeah.
So it's much of a big family, but at the same time, like, they know what's expected of them, and we've had a great summer so far, and let's just see if we can keep it going.
Derek had mentioned that it used to be a 4. Right? Is it a situation from a population standpoint? Is it starting to decline the population of the schools, or it's stabilized, or at that, like, in between 2 and 3?
Yeah, I feel that's pretty much where we've been. When I first got the job, we were definitely, I don't want to say a solid 3, but a lower end population wise of Group 3, and then it really just started to kind of drop. And I think it might have been 2 years ago. It was the first time I've been there. I've been to West Milford for 20 years. The first time that we were under 1,000 kids in the school. We're somewhere in the 9s. So we obviously would be a bigger 2. I understand that, but it's just kind of been dwindling since I said I started there in 2004, and it's just kind of been slowly, dropping. Not many people, people that had children go through the school system, maybe they're not moving,
Right.
type of thing. So, like I said, it's a great place to live, so I don't really see a lot of people, taking off. And I think
It's a great place to live.
Oh, it's awesome, dude. It really is.
That usually is what happens.
You're in the woods, you're away.
Yeah. By the lake. Oh, it's great.
Yeah. It's a very unique spot in New Jersey. It like, literally, is West Milford, is that considered Passaic County, or is that?
Yeah, Western Passaic.
Yes,
County,
that's the other part. Nobody realizes that West Milford's in freaking Passaic County, bro.
Yeah,
right. And it's huge.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yep.
Landmass wise, it's huge, right? It's a huge
landmass. Yeah, that's what I mean. Dude, you're like New York, dude.
Yeah, New York, right.
Yep.
It's such an interesting just because in New Jersey, like in Passaic County, people think about like heavy population areas, and West Milford is this huge town that's the population is spread out a little bit more, right? So it's like totally different than the rest of Passaic County. It's a really, really interesting. Right. It's a really, really interesting place, a unique place. As far as like, give me a little bit like the landscape of like youth football there, like how football is looked at in general as far as West Milford. Is there any kind of culture things you had to do football wise to like bring to the table for to keep football at the forefront, or that's something that's always been there in West Milford?
I think like any public school.
That's a great question.
Yeah, great question. I think for similar to any public school that's kind of in the same situation as we are. Really, as far as like the youth program goes, when I first got involved, we were playing in a local league up in, like, it was kind of like a Sussex, Morris, actually, mostly just Sussex, like pretty much the same league that I had played in growing up. And we got invited to go play in the North Bergen Junior Football League. We jumped on that opportunity, and that league is fantastic. It truly is, in terms of I tell people all the time, I say, you go 500 in that youth league, you got a pretty good team, because it's just, you're dealing with some powerhouse towns. You're dealing with some guys that really know how to coach football and really take it serious. So for me, it was just kind of once we jumped into that, was just surrounding myself with friends of mine who were dads, and kind of helping them out as far as coaching and making practice plans, and just kind of getting certain people involved. And I just got lucky with it, to be honest with you, in terms of some of these guys that are coaching in our youth program right now. I got guys who played college football, that coach high school football, they're heavily involved. So with that being said, like, our youth numbers have increased, tremendously. Like this league does. They'll have like you have like your A team, for example, plays on Saturday nights, and your B team plays on Sunday. So kids are playing, they're enjoying it. They're trying to grow the game of football as much as possible. So that's really I think it's really helped our numbers. it's also helped our kids in terms of what's to expect as far as the competition
What's
level. You know what I
expected?
mean?
Yep.
Yeah, like you're gonna play these teams. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna play teams like this. This is not gonna be, like I said, back in the day, a little bit different. So that was huge as far as like, within the culture of the school. Like the school's 100% behind it, 100% behind all sports. And we've done a
Yeah,
lot of community service
it's
stuff.
definitely a sports school.
Yeah, I mean we've done a lot of things in terms of like trying to get the faculty involved in what we're doing, and they're great. Everybody's great. Everybody wants everybody to succeed. I feel like all coaches kind of really truly support each other. To be honest with you, like I said, I all the coaches that are there are fantastic in what they do, and like I said, they support us. So it's like from a culture standpoint, it really to me was just kind of infusing the energy into the youth program. And just the expectations, like to me, like I want to win, and I don't, sometimes it's not always about some years you're gonna be down, some years you're gonna be up, some years you're gonna be in the middle, but the expectation is to win, and the expectation, if that's your expectation, and and if you get close to it or not, you're still gonna be raising good student athletes, and that's another big part of it too, and is being an all around student athlete. So. To be honest with you, it was just for me going, becoming the head coach. It just was the right time. I'm pretty fortunate to kind of, start out with that great senior class. I had a kid that ended up playing at Dartmouth from that class. So I was fortunate enough to have that, and then just kind of trying to build off of that, and yeah, man, that's kind of where we're at.
That's really cool stuff. Now, I'm curious because I coach my son now, right? And he's in third, going to be in fourth grade. And so, what is that like? That dynamic from going from obviously coaching high school kids, where at the time, although now your son's now in high school, right? But coach that dynamic of coaching everybody else's kids, right? And then coming and coaching your own son, and then in the youth program. What was that like coming all the way through?
Oh my goodness. You go down to practice and like, you just got done with a high school practice, and and you're amped up, and my head's still spinning from practice, like what we could have done differently, what we're going to do tomorrow. And then you go down there and it's just kind of like, especially the first year coaching like, oh, it was nuts. Kids jumping around, like, not attentive yet, so it definitely was definitely was a struggle in the beginning. But I'll tell you right now, the guys that were with me, the dads that were with me were and they still are, because they're with me now and their kids are freshmen, and some of them have, they have older children as well that are with me, but like they were so into it, and it's like, they just wanted to learn, they wanted to know, okay, why we're doing this. And honestly, like that was huge for me, because there'd be times I'd be like exhausted, I'd be shot, like I don't, I'm just, my mind's not there, and they understood what we were doing, and they just kind of did it. And when it got to team or whatever, that's kind of when I would jump in at times. But it was definitely going from a high school practice to a what they called Rumble or Mighty Mites in second grade was definitely eye-opening, and especially in games was eye-opening. There was times when my kid was in second grade when you would break the huddle, you couldn't talk right to your defense, and like my son's been around football forever, so he would have code words. Like we'd have code words when I thought they were going to throw it or run it. Like it was fun. That part was fun for me with him, and then all his buddies, and then we kind of just kept going through it, and it was actually this past year, I was like, you get to a point where you're like, oh man, I can't wait to go like home after high school practice, just relax and kind of decompress. And when I got to that last practice this year, ended up playing in a championship game, and the last practice, like I got choked up. Like I was just like, I couldn't believe
look at you.
Like where you were with these kids, and where you see them all develop and grow up and mature, and and just the amount of respect that they have for me and I have for them. And it's like I said, it's just fantastic. Like I said, it's paying dividends right now for me. And now I know why I did it. And all those times where I was just like, man, I'm tired. I can't, like, there's a reason why I did it. Obviously to help me, but also to help the community and help the program. But like coaching your kid is it's definitely like a roller coaster. Up until, to me, when I feel like when they grow up, that's when they get it. Or like I said, right now I'm fortunate enough. I got a great freshman staff, and my son's playing freshman football, and it's like all the things that I was telling him in youth, he's getting told the same thing, and now it's like, oh, yeah, Dad, like you kind of know what you're talking about. All right, like so. It
only took like however many years to figure it out. Like I kind of know what I'm doing here.
they always know more, but I would not. I was talking to another coach last night at a 7-on-7, and I was asking about it. He said it was the greatest experience I've ever had. I wish that you have half the experience that I had, like, because it was phenomenal. Like, just wait and see, and looking forward to that. But it's not just, like I said, it's not just him. It's the kids that are, that are seniors and juniors and sophomores that I've been around already. Like, it's just, they're my guys, and just like, and don't get me wrong, guys before that, those were my guys, but I knew them for 4 years. I've known some of these kids for 7, so,
yeah, like
man,
you've literally watched these kids like grow up and become like something. Like you watched them through middle school, through now they're hitting high school, and like for you, that dude, that's got to be one of the most rewarding things in the world, especially because now like you can see how they've developed, how they've just, and I'm not talking just like football X's and O's, like I'm talking off the field, like like you were probably around most of these guys when they had their first injury, right? Or they just like all of those firsts you've kind of been around for, and now you're talking you're going to be in their lives through 4 years of high school football, where for some, like these are the greatest memories that some of these guys have ever or will ever experience in their lives.
Yeah.
And you're going to be a pivotal part of that.
And I think you said it best, man. That's the important part about, coaching high school football. Sometimes, we get caught up in, winning titles or but sometimes you got to remember, like, the most important part is giving these guys, the memories that they're going to have for a lifetime. I mean, and like I said, like, when it was looking pretty boom for me in high school, and then all of a sudden we had a great, we had a great year, and it's every year I get together with those guys, the high school guys, and we make it an annual thing every year, and that's kind of what I strive for the classes that I coach to have that,
yeah,
and that's why you coach football, man. That's why you should be.
100%.
And obviously the winning part's the best. That's awesome. You know what I mean? And I'd like to see us get to that, that next step, and I feel like we're pretty close, but it's been
you're close, that's for sure. You're right there, buddy. Like with a quarterback like that, I think you got a chance any day of the week, dude.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's good.
He's good.
What are the things that you think need to happen for this year to kind of for you guys to make that next step? What do you think?
I mean,
you guys have to do.
It just comes down. It just comes down to executing in those coin flip games, or those games that you're thinking to yourself, do we, like I said, we call it coin flip because they can go either way. And are we going to execute in those big moments? We've been through a lot of them. We played a lot of close games. We've won some overtime games, lost some overtime games, lost overtime game one time in 21 on a 2-point conversion. It just comes down to executing in those moments. I mean, we were pretty young coming out of that 21 season after we made that little, that little run. And then we play a lot of young guys. We have about 5 to 6 kids that started as freshmen that year. Those guys are now, asked to be what we say is you got to be a dude now. It's not enough to just, it's not enough, last year was kind of one of those things with some of those guys, especially the quarterback, the running back that are both sophomores last year. Some receivers are sophomores. It was kind of like, all right, you did this better, but now I need you to take it to another level. You need to win us, you need to make plays that help us win the game, like impactful, become impactful players. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And become the guys that they're supposed to be. So, we're really looking with, towards those guys doing that. I mean, like anybody in public school football, can your line come together? we feel pretty confident about, how strong we are up front, how fast we are up front. And we got to, it's our job then to take what we got and, scheme it to help them, or help all of our players in terms of what we're trying to do offensively and defensively. But like I said, that's always the biggest thing, right? Public school football is, especially when you get into that group 2, lower group 3, group 1's like, I need linemen, they're the most important position on the field. But, from a skill,
100%.
from what we've seen so far, and obviously the pads aren't on, and everybody looks good in shorts in July, right? But we're pretty happy right now.
No doubt about it. It's continuing to progress all the way through the summer and making those next steps. And obviously it'll come together, and your older guys will make the difference on that, and how they lead. That'll make all the difference too. But it's really interesting to see the progress. Because I think you guys whooped us out. That was my first year there at Indian Hills, and or maybe it was my second. No, it was my second year. And I really see how the progress of the team has come over the years. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to see the progress of what you guys are doing. Shifting gears a little bit, because we always talk college football and stuff like that, and recruiting. I'm curious what it is, what recruiting is like for you guys out there in West Milford, and some of the things that you have to do to kind of help your guys get recruited. What are the things that you're doing today's era to help your guys get recruited?
I mean, like, I feel like recruiting a lot has, as far as the involvement of the coach. I mean, it's almost like, you were the middleman for a while, and now with social media and Twitter and the ability for, these kids to, obviously help out their high school, help them out with, their college choices. You reach out to coaches, you talk to them, you talk to your connections. All the high school coaches up here do a great job of helping each other out and helping kids out. When recruiters come in, and say, does anybody have you seen this guy? Have you seen that guy? Right. I mean, but as far as, recruiting, I mean, it's just the same stuff, man. It's just kind of like working your connections, talking to the kids as far as what camps they've been to, who was there, reach out, just kind of be another support system for them. But I think a lot of the recruiting has turned into, what the kid has been able to do. It's kind of like where we get that contact, later on, you know what I mean? Like after they make contact, and then we're getting the phone call, and then we're the one that's, supporting them and helping them, through the process. I mean, it's a lot different now. I mean, these kids, I got 2 kids that are going, I mean, that's the big thing too now, just kind of telling them, like, pushing the camps, pushing the showcase camps, you have to do that. Like, that's that's how a lot of the other sports that these kids play, like baseball, basketball, like they go to showcases, lacrosse showcases, like football's turned into that now, and you have to push them. You have to make sure and you aid them into, which ones you're going to, which ones should you go to, type of thing. And then you just kind of, lines of communication, they go there, coaches talk to them or contact them, then they contact you, and you're just kind of like, you're part of that, like, triangle between the college coach, the high school coach, and the player. But so much of it has really is really come into, the kid, selling himself and the right way, right, correct, and we're just kind of aiding in the way. But of course, like, if any time that there's, I just had a kid at a Lafayette camp and reached out to somebody at Lafayette, like, those are the things that you do. But like I said, recruiting is way different. You know what I mean? But we've gotten, for us, we've had a couple of Division I kids. We got a kid that's still playing at URI as a tight end, and you get these coaches that come in, and then there's connections, and they move somewhere else, and you just keep those those contacts in every once in a while, and
you just change the name of the school next to their name, right?
Yeah, but sometimes they're great to reach out to them, like, hey, listen, I got this kid. I don't know what level. What do you think? Like, it's all networking, man. It's just and you keep doing that, and then those guys will talk to those guys, and it's crazy how it works. It really is. But at the end of the day, man, if you're good enough, they'll find you. I mean, there's no. I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't care where you play. Like, they will find you. I've seen it here, and I've seen it around here. Like I said, the beauty of social media, the beauty of Huddle, that's like I said, when the college coach reaches out to you, it's a lot.
Did we lose them?
I'm here.
You're good.
I'm good, bro. But yeah, that's pretty much like I said. You turn into you're at times you initiate things. At times you're the catalyst of it, but a lot of times you're just a support system with it, and just helping these kids find the right spot.
It's a lot of times now I've heard from a lot of coaches that they're using you guys to really validate, hey, is this guy a hard worker? Yep. They kind of have done a lot of cases the evaluation on the athletic ability and what they can do, and they want to make sure that he's a kid that you'd want them to recruit, that kind of a thing, educationally obviously as well. That part is different, right? You kind of you go from the middleman to where you guys really had to initiate things for years, whereas now it becomes a situation where they want to validate. They want to make sure, okay, this is, this kid does everything he's supposed to do with it when he's with you guys, when he's at West Milford, and he does the job educationally. And okay, yeah, we like him athletically, and so yeah, that is an interesting role. Do coaches still come into the school over there? Is that as big a thing for you, or is that kind of changed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it starts in the fall, of course, like it continues throughout the spring. Like I said, it all depends upon the kind of player you got. If you got a kid that's got the D1 size, but it all starts, like I said, like these college coaches, they come through, and they'll have, say for example, they're going to go to Lakeland and look at a player, and sometimes they may not even be coming to West Milford or going to Vernon or going to wherever, right? And then I think our fraternity, as far as our coaches up here, we're always supporting each other and supporting our kids, and we all do it the right way. And then it turns into, you got to go over and see this kid, But for the most part, yeah, man, it's pretty steady flow. I mean, I'll lose preps, I'll lose lunches, because I don't want to miss my classroom time as a classroom teacher teaching physics. So I got to make sure I'm in class.
Hey, you're still doing science? You're still teaching science? That a boy?
And physics. So, you're, like I said, you're running around left and right. And the worst thing sometimes is, when a coach just shows up, I mean, you at least get a little bit of a heads up, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun for me. It's fun for the program. It's fun for the kids, that's like their first taste of it sometimes. I mean, obviously, depending upon if you're, a higher level player, you're going to be getting looked at a little bit earlier, of course. But for those, like, especially like the D3 kids, like, that's their first experience of talking to a college coach and being like, wow, like, and then they realize this is a huge decision. I mean, it's not just if I want to go play football there. It's, does the school have my major? That's a big thing, I mean, and all those things that go with it. But yeah, it's definitely a whirlwind from, I would say, December, and then it takes a little bit of a break in the early spring, and then they come back at the end of it, just looking at different prospects, and like I said, what kid does, every kid, they get pulled out of class and they're going to go see a college coach. Like,
they love it.
It's a great, and I'm not saying they love getting pulled out of class. I'm just saying they love the fact of going to see, like, wow, like it's just a great feeling for them, and it's a motivating factor, especially when they're when they're underclassmen, for example, going into it,
Yeah, it sounds like it's an encouragement for them to take physics with you. So that's the benefit. You take physics with coach, okay? And if college coach comes in, you need a little time, you know what I mean? Because physics is a tough subject. So it's a tough subject. That's the way. That's how you get them to take the physics class. Not only will you be prepared for college, but also if you need a couple of minutes of time, I'll give it to you. So that's how it all works. That's really awesome stuff. I always wondered, West Milford, because it's because of where it's located. Just like actually, I always wondered about Newton and Vernon. You know what I mean? In a different way, but and you grew up in Vernon, so like always continuing to build the programs out there, and you're everywhere you got to go to play. Although West Milford's not as bad because you're right by Passaic County where the school is, but like Vernon, you guys like you're traveling, like even within your league, right? If you're playing Kittatinny or you're playing,
we played High Point this year, and we're driving on 23, and I'm like, I haven't been to this school since I was in high school, and I was like, oh my, it's so far. You know what I mean? It's like you'd rather take the ride in the Bergen County. It's shorter, but it's wild up here. I do like the division that we play in. It's like it reminds me a little bit of the SCIL in a way, where I always felt like even growing up, like we played like it's almost like our youth league that we played in, with Lakeland there, and Vernon and Jefferson, and Sparta and High Point. Like it's just kind of what you grew up with, and I really do enjoy that.
Really you cool have some stuff. Great coaches in some of those schools that are around you, bro. Like they're good. Yeah, they're good coaches. You know what I mean? You got McCarney, that's not Lakeland. You got crazy Matt Sakis, that's at Jefferson. We had him on, so Coach got his taste of Matt Sakis and all of his craziness. Like even the guys at Sparta and Newton and all of those dudes, everybody that surrounds West Milford, it's all like really solid football, dude.
To be honest with you, man, in North Jersey, I don't know if you would really find, I haven't really come across anybody that I feel like it doesn't do a good job. It's just North Jersey is the most competitive people in the world, I think. And most, and all the coaches are, like I said, are obviously extremely competitive, make their kids competitive. And, they're always going to try to find a way to get the edge. And if it's schematically, if it's motivation, listen, when you get into a game and like I said, we play Lakeland and it's a big rival.
That's huge rivalry, man.
If we're both humming during the year, and dude, the atmosphere, but it's a challenge. It's a challenge as a coach, like knowing, even on teams that are not having a great year, they're going to come out and they're going to fight. They're going to be well prepared. Just like there's, years we weren't, that great win record wise, like. People know, like, listen, you're gonna get a dogfight for as long as they can because they're gonna be prepared, because they're coached well and the kids are gonna be motivated. And I feel like that's pretty much just. I couldn't say one bad thing about any coach up here. I really couldn't. They all do their jobs and they all do it like, work extremely hard. So it's fun coaching up here. It really is. Like I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love being in competitive tight games. Like I think it's exciting. What else? Sure, it's great to win an easy one here and there, but it's just the challenge of being in a game like that. Brings out the best in you.
Well, one of the unique things about North Jersey, I think in football especially, is there's so many schools up there, and each place is like a little different. Each place, even though they're all fairly close, right? Even other than the Sussex County schools, but even in Sussex County, every school is has a unique difference to them. And my favorite thing when coaching North Jersey was scouting. It's people don't do it as much anymore, but going to the games and watching the other teams and seeing the atmosphere of that town and literally the concession stand. I love the concession stand. What do they have there? I used to think that, and did you other coaches you would see, and that's some of the things that's changed a little bit about football because Huddle obviously makes things so easily accessible and then the analytics and everything. But but that was the thing about North Jersey that really was so unique. Every town, every town has football and every town has a different atmosphere to it. I think it's really, really cool.
I remember my first year coaching in 2004 and that was, a big thing with Coach Poppy was, we're going to scout and the whole staff is going to scout. And, but it was cool you would go as a staff or you would go with, maybe the staff would be split in half and you'd go scout and it would turn into a social thing, obviously, with your coaching staff. But I loved it. It was like I'm around the guys that I want to, that I'm around every day with, and we all get along. And we're gonna go watch a high school football game. And I think anytime that you get a chance to do it, anytime that we have a chance to do it, we're gonna go do it. I mean, it's definitely something that you don't do as much anymore.
Right.
And it's great with huddle and people think like, oh, well, you got more time and you got more free time. Like, no, you don't. It's actually kind of worse because you have so much more film at your fingertips and more to do. Type of thing if you're trying to, if you're finding them, the edge that you want to find. But there's just something about that, man, that I always enjoyed. And that anytime that we can do it as a staff to go, obviously, anytime you can get a live scout of an opponent you're playing that next, say that week, or you might see in the playoffs, like, you got to go see it. It's just a different feel than watching it on tape, that you get a feel of, as a defensive coordinator, you can kind of you feel like you get a feel of what they're really trying to do, like seeing it live. But I'm with you, Coach. I mean, I enjoy going to different places and seeing different things, and just seeing how the crowd's different. Like, what's the camaraderie like as far as the, like what kind of, is it a hostile environment? Is it not a hostile environment? And of
is
course,
there a band? Do they have a student section? Like all that kind of stuff plays into it, bro.
Yeah. Yes, and what kind of snacks do they have? That's always big.
You got it. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That always is like, oh, okay, we'll definitely go scout there. They got a good. It's like we go scout Glen Rock back in the early 2000s. Like, it was like being at a country club. You had like lobster bisque and stuff.
Yeah. We scouted homecoming at Del Barton. It was fantastic.
Oh, dude, you're crazy, dude. Like that's like you're at college.
Couldn't beat it. I was like, who wants to go to Del? It's like, coach, like, who wants to go to Del Barton? I'm like, I'll go. I'm in.
Yeah,
that's great.
Montclair High School has the best jerk chicken I've ever seen in my life.
Montclair High School.
Montclair High School.
It's awesome having you on, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
I don't want to hold you up when you're evening too long, but it's been really great having you on, and thank you for taking the time to come on and talk some football with us.
I appreciate it, guys. Good luck. All right.
All right. Have a great night.
Brother. We'll talk soon, man. Congrats again on the baby.
Talk to you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, bud.
That was great.
He's high energy, bro. He's a live wire.
Yeah. I was thinking, as I was talking, I was just thinking, I was like, you know what? That was one of the things I missed about North Jersey. Like, I would go to, whether it be Glen Rock or Hasbrook Heights or Ramapo or,
Dude, I just think like and that was one of those things that Coach Matsakis instilled in me when I was coming up as a coach, was like, hey, like you can watch all the film you want, but there is nothing like going to a game and watching another team live to see how fast is this kid really, or how big is this kid really, right? Because who they're playing against, like on film, all that other stuff. He said there's nothing like a live scout. Every time you can live scout, take advantage of it. And he's 100% correct, because every time I've gone to live scout a team, you always come back with some little niche that is like, I wouldn't have picked that up if I was on film.
It's true. Yeah. What a coach will tend to run in certain situations. Like you get the analytics, it breaks it down, but when you see it in person, you actually get
like he would go as far, and he would go as far as like, look, get there for warm-ups and see how they real deal. Like, all right, this one guy might be a stud, but like 2, 3, 4, 5, like what else do they have? You know what I mean? Like that was a big thing. Like go for war, dude. Like then you could see how do these guys coach, right? Are they all, is it militant in terms of like very structured pregame? Is it all over the place pregame, right? Because that's what kind of correlates as you move along. I just think it was always something, but. He's awesome, dude. I've known him literally. You said he started coaching in 04. So literally my year was his first year coaching, right? So, and he was just some like loudmouth, like coach yelling on the sideline. And you know what I mean? Like that young.
Right, he was young. He's probably young then. He's probably like 22, 23.
It was like literally right out of college. You know what I'm saying? Like, and here he is, cut sleeves, jacked out of his mind, like, yelling stuff from the sideline as we're scrimmaging them. But he is what he is, dude. Like he deserves everything he gets. He's been there for so long, Dave, and he's kind of ridden that wave in terms of it. I've always thought West Milford was like a sleeping giant in terms of just like sheer size in general, but you obviously see the impact of people that are living there and kids going to school there, and to watch a school like go up and down, like if he's in that group 3, man, when he gets in those playoffs, like he's got to see, like you said, he's got to see hammers West Milford, West Morris, like those perennial Group 3 powerhouses that now, like, he's got to go see. Whereas if he was a 2, he'd be a bigger 2, but at least, he could probably get over the edge with that, But I think
Japan might be a 3.
What's that?
Old Japan's a 3, right? So
yeah, I think Old Japan dropped to a 3 now. Northern Highland, I think, is still a 4, but they're a 3. It's just crazy to see how the whole population.
Right. Yeah. No, it's really it's a unique football landscape.
Right.
North Jersey, and I didn't even get into, but like one of my favorite things about, and I don't know this, I'm not sure if the Shore does it. You would know better than me now because it's been a few years, but the greatest thing about the Super Conference was you could get access to everybody's film. Everybody.
They did the pool, right? Where you could literally pull Catholic's film if you wanted it. It was amazing.
Yeah. Now,
I don't. The Shore doesn't. The Shore.
It's not an open
I don't
pool,
really
like
know.
it's not.
I don't think it is, to be honest with you, man. But I always loved that too. Like when we were at Mount Olive, like, hey, we might see these guys in the playoffs, like pull their film, right? And as long as you have enough space, you're good to go, right? Which I thought was unbelievable. I think that adds the camaraderie of like everybody too. Now you're not doing backdoor deals for film, right? Like, hey buddy, I'll give you 2 of these for this. Like, you remember that shit? Like, guys would be all over the place. Like, can I get your film? Can I get some time against this guy? And you're like, dude, like, here's the just go. Like, take it. If you can really gain that much of an edge off of it, well, great for you. Now they just put in place like, hey, every film, like, done. Ain't no backdoor deals here, dude.
Oh yeah, because you could look if someone's running a system that you wanted to grab something from, I would just watch it.
Right.
I'll tell you,
right.
Where I got, who
maybe you want to like install something new, or maybe your personnel matches something else's.
When I wanted to put the power read at it Indian Hills, because I had that quarterback that could run, I had to go and I was watching people do it. And I'm like, well, I don't think we could do it as good as the. So I who I literally got it from, and I was like, you know what? And we played them, and I'm like, that's how I'm gonna run it. I got it from Bergenfield, and
let me tell you something about Bergenfield, Dave. Like
those guys are great coaches.
Dave, when I was at Passaic Valley, bro. 2009 season, 2010 season. We used to play them. Dude, I never even knew Bergenfield existed. Like, I had no freaking clue. I'm watching film, I'm going, dude, they got some freaks here. Like, they could, like, if they got this thing, like, humming, like.
They've had great coaches there. They've had a great coach there.
Right. They're definitely one of those teams. Right. They're definitely like an up and down type of, like, play.
But he had a guy that went Division I. I can't think of the kid's name. And he had him at quarterback. He wasn't going to be a quarterback in college. I can't remember who he went to a big time school. But he was running power read with him, a ton of power read. And they had a really good running game. And I'm like, you know what? Shoot, I'm taking it. And I'm going to run it almost exactly like he runs it. He had a different set than we ran out of the backfield, but I'm like, I'm going to run the blocking way the way he was running it, and just see and just copy it, literally copy it, see how it goes. And that's what I did. I copied. I'm like, because I got to get this kid getting downhill somehow, not just on like we were running like some triple option stuff and like
right. But that's what that open pool gave you access to, and like I mean, look, like it is. I think that's great, right? Like, and even now, like when you go to the playoffs, like. Hey, you got to exchange like every game, no matter what. Like, you just got to do it. Like, it is what it is. Okay, cool. Like, I mean, come on, man. If you're literally a coach that's willing to, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you can really pick something up from game 2 when we're already in the playoffs, like, kudos to you, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think teams change over the last.
High school, but like even high school football, dude, like it changes so much with injuries and all kinds of craziness. Like, if you're the same team from week 1 to week 8, like. I don't really know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're just like a hammer that just like running through everybody. But I'm sure you can have some things that are like, even to me, like guys that go back and watch like, oh, I'm watching tape of these guys last year. I'm like, dude, like I get teams run systems and do all that kind of stuff, but teams change so much from year to year now. Like I just think that stuff like, that if you want to do that, go ahead. But, we're going to look at what we're going to look at. And we're going to kind of go from here.
Am I frozen and you?
I'm not. You're frozen.
And
it's nice because you're like looking into the cloud. It's kind of cool. You're literally like, what's the temperature going to be tomorrow? Like, that's how you look like right now. It's like you're looking at like the cloud with the bubble.
All right. Well, we'll hit it up. We'll get off for now, and then we'll see you back on Thursday.
Yep, Thursday night.
Thursday night again, and we'll go from there.
That
was great. That was great. Really good. Really got some good stuff in.
Dude, he's awesome. I love talking to him. He's such like a firecracker. Always has been. Always like will be. He literally, that guy right there just had a newborn kid.
Whoa! Wait, and he has a 14-year-old, right?
14-year-old. He's got. I think that's his 4th kid he just had, maybe 5th.
God bless him.
Dude,
awesome.
I'm telling you. That's what I said. That's what living in West Milford is. You guys get bored.
Got to get it going.
All right, baby.